What is good, people? I hope you are all alright. I am James and I'm an aspiring videographer, cinematographer, and in today's session I want to talk about green screening, and I want you to try not to make these 3 mistakes that I made when first starting. So let's just get right into it. If you're into videographer and it's something that you're getting into, or you've never done green screening before, this might be a video for you. Needless to say, when I first tried to green screen, I made a few mistakes, let's just say, and I would go as far as saying one of them is very stupid. Let's just say that one was very stupid. But without obviously doing these things, sometimes we are not to know, and I will not make that mistake again. So I'll start off with the bad mistake, and that is be very aware of the thing you are filming. Let's say it as that. Number one, be aware of what you are filming. Now, when I talk about being aware, I'm talking about what the object itself. Is it big? Is it small? That could be one thing, but the main thing I'm talking about is, does it have a reflection itself? Is it mirrored? Or the one that I did, I used a glass. Now, from all intents and purposes, just to give you some kind of idea of why I used a glass, it wasn't the glass per se that I was trying to use or try and green screen. It was actually the fact that I was trying to replicate a background, and in my mind I thought by using glass, any colour what you see through it would be able to change. Not thinking to myself that when you're trying to get the key, if you like, or when you're trying to key, the glass itself has different shades of green or shades. But just to give you an idea, yeah, guys, how silly I actually was, the glass was also speckled. So it's not like I made the job any easier for myself, I made it a lot worse, which gave it a lot of different changes in texture and colour, thus making it very hard to pick up the key in DaVinci Resolve. I literally gave it an impossible task, is what I'm saying to you. I literally gave it an impossible task. So be aware of the object, guys, and that could be all sorts of things. Just try and think to yourself, when I'm trying to put this on a green screen, how much of an issue is this going to be? Is it going to cause me any bad, or should I say, is it going to cause me any issues down the road? Is it going to make it a lot harder to get the key? Am I going to be able to do what I need to do? So that is the number one, and probably the worst of all of these, to be quite frank. So number two is a bit similar to number one in some kind of way, but what I'm talking about, this is not the object by having glass or having a reflection or having some other kind of feature, if you like, but maybe you may have a reflection around you. Maybe something that you are bouncing light off will cause spill onto the actual object itself, and that's something that I was doing myself when I did some of the filming, and I didn't realise at the time I have a shiny, or I had at the time, a glass table, and that glass table was bouncing light from the glass back up onto the to the subject. And when I think about it now, at the time I couldn't see it. I physically could not see that, especially the fact I was filming log, which is just a flat profile anyway. I didn't notice when I pulled it into DaVinci Resolve and then obviously converted the log image, and the contrast and the saturation went up, and I was like, oh my god, I've got half of, it was a can I was doing on this, half a can where the can I was doing was green, and the other half was the actual colour, and to get that colour away, it was an absolute nightmare. Now luckily I did some concept filming, so it was all to do with concept filming at the time, but again, if I had not done that, it'd been quite a painful experience to get all the stuff back out. And if I was doing it on set, if you like, with a client, and it wasn't in my own living room just faffing around, it would have been unusable footage. To be quite frank, it would have been very much unusable footage. So just be careful of your surroundings. What are your surroundings doing? Are you flagging certain light off where it needs to be flagged off? And I went to go and do the music video I've been doing. We tried to put some black, what would you call it, cloth, if you like, on the floor, trying to just at least stop a little bit of bounce from coming back off the floor, because when we hired a studio, it was fully green screen on one side and fully blacked off on the other. But when we was doing that, I was just trying to make it as as less reflective as possible. And these are all little things that you experience. You can only sometimes learn to do these things when you're doing wrong. So just be aware of that, guys. Think about the subject and the area in what you are, or should I say the area in which you are in. Okay. Number 3. So for number three, again, I feel like this is also quite a silly one. They're all very silly ones, but I suppose at the same time, I wouldn't have thought it was silly until I actually saw it in the actual editing software in DaVinci. So similar back to when I was doing the beer commercial. I wanted a close-up of a can. I wanted the close-up of the beer. Now 9 times out of 10 when you get close, it's nice to have some depth of field. So I've got a macro lens and I wanted to get really close, get a really nice kind of macro style shot with a nice little fade off into like bokeh as it blurs off into the background. And realise that when you are blurring the edges of the subject you are wanting to key or wanting to remove everything from, the colours of the green screen and the can start to blur together. So when I say it out loud, it seems like, why would I not know that? I was so what's the word? I was so fixated on the fact of trying to make this look super cool with the fade off of blur and focus, if you like, that I never thought for 1 minute that, by the way, I'm going to have to key this later on, and that I need a nice solid object around all the way around the outline in order to separate one from the other. And you're going to notice this anyway, similar to step 2, when you've got things reflecting onto it. There's certain things within DaVinci, I assume there's other ones in other softwares as well, that allow you to then take off the spill a little bit. So there's always going to be potentially some spill. It's just about mitigating that as much as you can. But if you're not putting yourself in a position where you're able to, around an outline, let's say, distinguish one from the other because it blurs and they blend together, it's going to look very silly, and the software is going to not understand where to pick up and where not to. And not only that, it'll look very unnatural, because if it does pick it all up, it's not a solid outline. It just won't look good. It just won't look good. So that's another thing to watch out for when you're green screening. So guys, just to recap, we've obviously had the first one, which is be careful of the object that you are using. Ensure that you're not using glass, or if you are using glass, do it better than what I did. Well, I can't imagine that ever particularly working, but mirrors will be exactly the same. It might be other textures that I'm not aware of either. That might be something that you need to be aware of. Okay. Number 2, your area. Is there any spill or reflection or bounce that are hitting your subject and causing it to spill that green screen onto it, and maybe even other colours, maybe other wanted colours that you don't want as well. That could be something that would cause you an issue. Maybe even onto the green screen as well, that might cause you an issue, in the sense of if you are getting different shades. One thing they always tell you to do is get as most even colour on that green screen as you can. You want to light it separately. And number 3 would be to be careful with your depth of field. You need to be making sure that you are locked in and you've got a tight depth of field all the way around the edge of the subject, so that when it comes to getting it in post, you can key it out and you get a nice clean key for the image that you are going for. Alright, now this was short and sweet, but I'd love to listen to you guys and see if you have any issues, or maybe there's some tips in the comments that you could pass on from what you've learned from green screening. I know it's something that is not an exhaustive list, but these are definitely things that when I look back I chuckle at myself and think, how did I not know these things? But at the same time, we sometimes get lost on other things when we're trying to level up. We might be concentrating on, like I say, trying to get the shot list right, or maybe making sure the lighting's right, and completely forget about some of the most basic stuff what we should be thinking of, and we don't. So leave some comments, pass on some tips. If you made it this far, thank you very much. As always, it's been a pleasure, and hopefully I will catch you in the next one. Catch you later, guys.